UK police raid crypto ATM sites. Regulator says no crypto ATMs have been approved. Police in the UK, in collaboration with the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA, have raided several sites allegedly hosting cryptocurrency ATMs. No crypto ATM operators currently have FCA registration, the British financial regulator stressed, adding that it is working with multiple law enforcement partners, including local police forces, to disrupt and disable illegal crypto ATMs. Authorities in the UK have raided several sites around the city of Leeds.
Get crypto back in from the cold, or let this infant industry wither on the vine. On this week's episode of the Crypto Mile, we speak to Adrian Ip, Managing Director at Aquis Exchange, to analyse the underlying motivations behind this stern response by the banking industry. Adrian, welcome to the Crypto Mile.
Thanks very much, Brian. Great to be here.
Thanks, Adrian. Let's just start with, what do you think is the main reason for the banks to block payments to and from crypto exchanges?
The financial ecosystem is really a network of heavily regulated and authorised firms. And regulation has obviously historically been built up through real-world examples of consumer detriment and illegal activities occurring, all over the world. What is clear to a lot of the industry today is that there are things which are occurring in the crypto world which perhaps aren't really what we would expect to see within traditionally regulated and authorized financial services. Obviously, a lot of the things that get talked about quite commonly are, black market transactions, terrorist financing, market manipulation, money laundering, and things like this. It's about, what is the risk appetite of regulated firms to really, allow their consumers to interact with organizations that potentially have the capability to cause consumer detriment and to do things with consumer money which would result in bad outcomes. There obviously are a lot of banks and a lot of jurisdictions that are very concerned about what is going on in the crypto world today. And I think really every organization that is regulated and authorized needs to, have our compliance committees really take a view of what are we doing here, and are these things that we're allowing to take place things which are leading to things that could fall foul of regulation, fall foul of law, or in fact mean that our clients are losing their money and that their money is at risk in ways which we're not supposed to let it be at risk. So that's really the view that I think a lot of the banks are taking, especially as the industry evolves. That is something that will, continuously be under the spotlight.
So there seems to be this impression that retail crypto firms are not really making those relationships with regulatory bodies globally. Why do you think this is an issue?
It's for a few different reasons. So first of all, regulation is a very high bar. It's not something that you fill in a form, you send it in, a week later you get your authorization and you're off to the races. Especially if you look at the exchange industry, banks and retail investment banks and things like this. There are firms that spend years and millions in pursuing regulatory authorizations around the world. One of the things that's in common across all these sort of major financial hubs of the world is that regulators really look in great detail at what it is that you're doing and who it is that is running these firms. And really ultimately what it comes down to is these are sort of legal and regulatory frameworks and systems which mean that if and when something bad occurs, we need to be able to figure out what went wrong and really try to make sure that we have people that are responsible and are identified to really make sure that these things don't happen and don't go wrong. One of the key things around that is that obviously there is a little bit of, an impression in the industry that a lot of crypto firms are very much sort of a get rich quick type of environment. So that is really, I think, the reason why.
So do you think that financial services industry is kind of looking at blockchain technology, looking at maybe creating their own digital asset exchanges and custodial services? And then if they do go ahead with this could be an existential threat to Coinbase and Binance?
There are multiple companies and firms out there with significant financial backing and senior people from traditional regulated firms that are basically looking at what do we do in this space. Really, it's about a softly approach and building up to, how do we get ourselves comfortable with this? How do we make sure that we have appropriate governance around this? How do we really make sure that we're doing things for the benefit of consumers and people that want to trade this stuff? And so there is a lot that is occurring in the TradFi space, both with blockchain and with crypto. And, obviously one of the things that gets bandied around a lot is talk about central bank digital currencies and things of this nature as well. But I think that the traditional finance space is catching up. I'm not sure that it means, the end of, an existential threat necessarily, and that Binance and Coinbase won't be here in 5 years' time. But certainly the traditional industry is looking to, take a slice of that pie, offer additional consumer protection, and make sure that we're helping the industry as well.
Adrian Ip, fascinating. Thank you very much for coming on this episode